Is the mirror of your life reflecting around you now, and what does it mean? Master Lady Kira Ra leads you on a journey of enlightened perspectives as she weaves together the elements waiting to be revealed and often not seen. A fascinating and dynamic hour that will leave your heart smiling and your soul singing. And of course, Kira Ra's famous mini soul readings. Be sure to call in. And now, here is Master Lady Kira Ra.
Namaste, beloved ones, and welcome to Soul Mirrors. What is your life reflecting right now? We are at such an extraordinary moment. We are here right now in a moment where this addiction to density is so robust, that the illusion is so profound, that it has brought us to the undeniable moment of being able to see it, to celebrate it, to honestly be able to say, you know what? Goodbye, illusion. Hello, master. And tonight, the energy that is in our world right now, the experience that we are all co-creating whenever you would come together with this show is so powerful, so profound that, of course, my husband, Sri Ram Ka, will be joining us very shortly to really travel on this journey with all of us together. And we will share with you the absolute 3 things you really need to know today, because you're being called in ways you have never been called before. And I know you feel it. And so, hey, speaking of calling, jump into the queue, get into the phone lines right now. Shri and I would love to talk to you and hear what's going on with you right now as well, especially as we start sharing more about what's really happening in this moment with consciousness. It's amazing. So get in there, 517-208-1500 over at Oneness Talk Radio, 517-208-1500, and of course over at BBS Radio, where you can call in toll free 888-627-6008. 888-627-6008. Remember, either place you get to listen to the show while you hold, and we always enjoy the opportunity to be able to connect with you. And I want to give a big shout out over to everyone. I love you at YouTube, 2 channels going on over there. We have both Oneness Talk Radio at YouTube and of course, official Shri and Kira. Thank you all. And to all of you at the AM/FM 24/7 channel that are receiving us on rebroadcast every week on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m., thank you. It is my joy to be with you right now. And so, beloved angels, let's really breathe in and say yes. Yes to that which we are, because as we're teasing you into tonight's show, we are at that moment where everything in the illusion is going to pull at you. And I want to go back to something. I've got to open up, because with everything that's happening right now, okay, it's saying that, why can't I share? Okay, I have no idea why I can't share anything. And so I am devastated here, and I won't take time to fix that right now. But what I will do is remind you of the energy flows. So the energy flows of this moment right now, this 2020 experience, which I've shared many times. Okay, let's see. It looks like I might have been given permission to share, but it's not letting me share. It's not bringing up anything on my computer. So sorry. Okay. As in this moment of the energy flows of 2020, as I've shown many, many times, when we are here right now in November, we are at the closing moment of visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. We are at a moment where we are being invited to step into the energy of 2021, which is going to be circular, and to let go of the linear even more. And I just want to really bow before last night's community that came together for Monday Magic. Wow. What a profound night together. And the massive information revealed by Archangel Zadkiel and the benevolent ones, the energy that was in that meeting last night. Thank you all for coming together, because that is really the propulsion that's on the planet right now. And it was all about this releasing this addiction to the density. And in order to release the addiction to the density, it means that we absolutely must get nakedly authentic with ourselves. that we are at a moment where in this very moment, and I want you to really feel and breathe that in, as the post-Mercury retrograde phase is stopping this Friday, the 15th, we'll finally be complete with that circuit and our final circuit of this year with this incredible Mercury retrograde, which does become even more heavily influencing in 2021. But we'll complete that. And this illuminated new moon came forward on Sunday, just 2 days ago, and said, look, I will hold this. I will hold this energy. I will hold this energy of this mirror and this illumination and the energy of Diwali and this beautiful sense of light is saying right now, we are here, we are ready, we are open, and we are guiding. We are at that moment where we are clear. And that is because we have become aware. Remember that awareness is the first step of the journey. When we are really aware, when we are awake to that which we never even knew existed, when that awareness comes forward, and then we start having the experience of the awareness, which leads us to yet the more choice. Always in the spiral, but are you going laterally? Are you spiraling up, or are you spiraling down? And the gift is that you're always going to be in that spiral. Consciousness is eternal. You're never going to not be in the spiral, and you will always be having massive amounts of experiences. We happen to be at a beautiful moment right now where all of that is converging, because this is a moment of expansion beyond expansion. We are at a moment right now on this experience of co-creative wonder where we have expanded in this experience of form in our consciousness, availability, connection, and really strong breaking free of the paradigm perception. We are at a point where we have not been before. And that is why the polarity is pulling so strongly. That is why it feels like these rubber bands that are just like, oh, right, I'm moving this out. That's what's happening right now. We're having this experience that's saying, wow, how far can we go? Well, if you're a rubber band in linear time, and I should have had a rubber band here to demonstrate it, right? I can only pull a rubber band so far until I've got to either let go or it breaks. And here's the key. If I let go, the good news is it is forever bigger than it was when it began. And if it breaks, it becomes something totally new. Either way, we are in the midst of a massive expansion of consciousness. And the energy that is gazing at you right now this week is inviting you to gaze into that beautiful mirror of the illuminated new moon as Mercury has its final moment with us in this year, and to look in the mirror and claim that which you know you are, to let go of the doubt, to literally not have time for it. This week, I forget where I saw it. It was like a headline in a picture, and I loved it. It touched my heart so deeply. And it was a quote from Dolly Parton that said, "I ain't got time to be old." And I was like, yes, that is really it. That and in so many ways, how transcendent, even though I would suspect she may not be aware of how transcendent her message was, and perhaps she absolutely is. But her message is saying, look, what are you creating? What is coming into your life right now? What are you allowing your life to be? Where is your time focused? Because time is the ultimate illusion. And I want you to breathe that in and really perhaps just try it on for the show tonight. Try it on as I bring in Shri and we go deeper into this conversation. But time is the ultimate illusion. And when we are able to really let go of the illusion and the master arises, it is because the depth of the knowing is so anchored and so connected that there just isn't even any time for doubt, because there's no space left for it. There is no space left for fear. You know, earlier today, I was having a beautiful conversation with someone, and the way that I described it to her was that you become a comet and you catch up with all the other comets that are already out there. And as a group of comets, your light becomes an unstoppable force. And it's either come on and soar with the comet, or help those that are back there, helping them to discover their comets. Whatever it is, find out who you are, because that's what's at stake this week. This week is about the identification of the self, the who that you are. Who are you? And once you are clear on who you are you nakedly, authentically living that energy? Or are you in the illusion of the time frame continuum? We are right now, and the energy flow of 2020, as you all remember, was what? It was the beautiful dragonfly lifting up what looks like a pyramid. And inside that pyramid, the culminating month right now is November. It is the last month of this entire year's visionary transformation through timeline adaptation. And when we head into 2021, this beautiful illuminated dragonfly energy is lifting up right now in November. It's starting to lift. It's like we've been sitting inside a spaceship and finally the engine went on. And what's going to happen is that in December, the final month that does what? That anchors that profound shift, not just shift, it was profound shift. That when December is here, that profound shift energy will lift up with all of the energy of 2020 as like an open vortex. It'll be literally a spinning spiral that shoots us into 2021, December 31. And for the first time ever, the energy flows are 12 concentric circles. And I want you to really feel that. It's a heartbeat, it's a tone, it's a pulse beat, it's an echo, it's a remembrance, it's a forward, it's a backward, it's a vibration. And this is the first time ever that we will be experiencing a year. And I'll be talking a lot more about this in just a couple of weeks on the air. But I wanted to share it with you right now, because in this moment, right now, in the illuminated moment of this week, what are you willing to look at? What are you willing to do if you knew that you're going to wake up Saturday morning and really know who you are, that you can get beyond the conditionality? What if you could give yourself that gift? What if you could go beyond that illusion? Well, those are the 3 steps that Shri and I are going to offer you this evening. And so without further ado, I do want to bring in my amazing beloved husband, Mr. Wisdom Teacher, Shri Ramka. And so Shri, come on in, honey. He's on the other side of the wall in the studio here. Here he comes. Woohoo! All
but
right.
There was a red light blinking. It said on air, and I didn't know.
Oh my goodness gracious. Look who's joining us this evening, my beloved one.
I was smiling because
I was smiling because Shri is here.
The YouTube comment said something along the lines of, Kira looks hot in red.
Oh God, you guys, don't make me blush. Don't tell me that. This is why I don't look at the comments. I almost got in there to bounce that one around a little. And I thought, maybe it's better just to smile and go, yeah. Oh, sweetheart. Well, you know, hey, this is what happens when you let go of the illusion and you say yes to your mastery. Is that, and this is what we're talking about tonight. And Shri, just before you came on, if you were playing in there with our beautiful group, you might have heard me sharing my favorite Dolly Parton quote right now,
I heard,
which is, I ain't got time to be old. And I ain't got time to be old because I'm filled with divine inspiration, constantly just saying yes, yes. And the instantaneous manifestation becomes such an adept experience that you're constantly, and you know, we read this years ago in the Manifested Saint Germain book, when we read in that book years ago on how you could alchemically learn how to literally reshape your body, how to literally transform your body. And I have to admit that it's like really awesome to do it, you know, to really have it working and doing it and having that alignment makes the journey so worthwhile.
Absolutely.
Right?
And,
Right?
and it's a delight to continue to find inspiration from your life experience,
Mhm.
to find inspiration from that which is now, not that which was.
Right?
And, you know, and this, excuse me, Dolly Parton thing, I ain't got time to get old.
I ain't got time to be
To
old.
be old. When I heard that, I reframed it, and I was saying, I don't have time to be depressed. I don't have the time to be distracted.
Hey, breathe this in.
Because flip it around.
Right?
All of the excuses that keep us from our joy, all of the really good reasons why we haven't quite got what we wanted,
Right.
they're all BS, because they have distracted you from your highest expression.
Wow.
And you bought into it. And so when we are depressed, I don't have any energy and all that. Okay, yeah, have that experience for as long as you need to have it to decide that you're complete with it. And that's up to you.
Yeah.
And when you're complete with it, it's one of those things of, I'm ready for my life now. I'm ready to live my highest expression right now.
And, you know, remember that depression is actually one of those addictions. It's actually an addiction to density. And this is what we're talking about this evening, is the profound freedom when you can gaze at it for what it is. That depression is actually an indulgence of the ego. And
your soul is not depressed. I can promise you that.
Your soul's witnessing your depression going, get me another popcorn. This is amazing. Wow, I'm watching this one, right? Your soul's doing all of that. And that's why you're here right now, because deep down your soul guided you here. You would not find this show. You would not know Sri and Kira unless your soul's already tapping on your shoulder and saying, hey, guess what? There's more. And it's trusting that, it's moving forward with that. And I want to, you know, Sri, since we're unable to share anything, we'll just start talking about it. But, you know, this evening, what it's all about is, how do we anchor? How do we, and especially right now, in the light of this amazing experience that we are in right now, how do we give ourselves the gift of being able to stay focused in our divine presence, connected in our divine presence, and not allow the distraction to get us? And, you know, Sri, tonight, you know, a few people have been talking about, we've been starting to get emails about, okay, you know, we're going to have to go back into lockdown and this is happening. Okay. So think about what I was just talking about with the energy flows a moment ago. So November is the final month of visionary transformation, timeline adaptation. Now, just like October, remember it looked like an inverted pyramid, and we had October, and the October energy was the March, April. So that October energy was anchoring what opened in March and April this year. Conversely, May, June this year, November, I do believe a lot of us were in retreat in May and June this year. And it was the later moments of the retreat. It was the time when we were getting like, okay, how is this going? How is it flowing? So if you are being invited back to that moment, you're getting an opportunity to either do it right this time, or to reignite whatever amazing thing was happening then and carry it in, or to dive into the density experience that was happening during that time and anchor that. Remember, these two series of pyramids are sitting in opposition to the Grand Pyramid that this beautiful dragonfly energy, which was the entire year, is getting ready to use as the momentum to open the coming moment. Your presence matters. Master, arise. And I just had to jump in with that, because when I did the Ascended Numerology for 2021, guess what it's all about this coming year, guys? Throat chakra and the truth, our truth as a species, as evolving consciousness. And it's going to all come to next year. It's massive. And that's why getting beyond the illusion right now matters.
Well, let's talk about the throat, because
let's do that.
That energy is applicable right now and will become more emphasized in the coming year.
Yes.
But
Yes.
the throat is literally your choke point
Mhm.
of the ascension
Mhm.
process. So, excuse the play on words, but the throat chakra, the fifth chakra, lives right at the base of the neck. And there's a little hollow there,
Right.
and guess what else is there? Your thyroids and parathyroids. And guess what the parathyroids and the thyroids regulate? You already know the answer to this. They have a profound effect on your energy levels and your metabolism. Now, the throat chakra is called by the archangelic realm your truth chakra. That means that when we align with what we know to be true, our heart energy can lift up and inspire the mind and the guidance
Yeah.
to harmonize and lead us through this lifetime with great bliss, clarity, intelligence, and abundance.
Breathe that in, because I am.
Bliss, clarity, intelligence, and abundance.
We love it all.
That's when the heart and the divine wisdom dance together. That's your legacy. That's your future. That's your birthright. However,
Uh-oh. I'm waiting for it. I hope you are too.
when we are of two voices, meaning the voice that we think will be approved of, or the voice that is compromising, and the voice that we wish we could really be, the truth, when we are in that dynamic, then we have split our energy and we've created a congestion, meaning the chakra isn't a nice flowing connection. It's pulling out to one side or the other. It's sort of like, how you used to take the garden hose and you'd bend it to reduce the water flow? That's what happens when we're of two voices. We have bent the flow of energy through the chakra.
Well, Shri, what I'm really feeling here as you're sharing that is you're really describing what happens when we are really almost bowing to density.
Well,
to me,
when
that kink in the hose felt
yeah.
like, okay, I'm bowing to density.
Yes.
There's the kink in the hose, right?
Yeah.
And that when we relax, right, when we let the flow restore. And today I was working with another being who is in the middle right now of their ascended Kundalini awakening. And many are in the middle of their ascended Kundalini awakening. And I know that this can be a very interesting experience for many of you. And I'm honored to shepherd so many of you through it. And this awakening right now, this ascended Kundalini awakening right now, is really bringing forward unresolved energies of consciousness. And you'll find that they're kinking. And so I'm loving this experience. And for example, the beautiful one I was with today, there were several kinks around this where you have this profound propulsion, ascended Kundalini energy, which really affects the spine. I will share that with you. This is why lots of sacred yoga, lots of movement, and we are going to be coming out with a new video really soon, I promise you, because there's a lot more happening with that, but you want to keep moving. You want to keep moving that body. The ascended Kundalini is very much about your life as your movement. And so, we put some questions in the e-card today, and I just want to read them so we can chat about this. And so here it is. And it's, density addiction is real. It's real. It's what pulls you away. It's how you lose your steadfast commitment or your focused awareness, your complete trust. Density addiction has so many payoffs at so many levels. So it's real. And it feels safe to that unresolved consciousness attached to the filters that seek to cloud your clarity, i.e. the ego, i.e. that which is like, I kind of really like laziness. When you ain't got time to be old, it's because you ain't got time to be sitting around. You're too busy being inspired and expanding. And so here are the questions. What if you just decide right now? What if you just decide you no longer have time to be afraid? All those preoccupations, all those fears. What if, taking on from what Shri's inspiration was earlier, what if you just don't have time to be afraid? What if you're just too busy being that there's just no time to be afraid? How about you don't have the time to be uninspired, right? Or however you would want to rephrase that. right? So what if you just decide you don't have the time to be afraid, and you don't have the time to be uninspired? So you can only be inspired. I just don't have the time to be uninspired. I'm sorry, that doesn't fit into my agenda. And it really doesn't, right? And I think right now you and I have been modeling how that inspiration becomes densified and how you can actually play with it in density, almost like Play-Doh or crystalline modeling glue.
I get these funny pictures in my head sometimes.
He's so cute.
How many of you have been to the carnival or the big shopping mall where they have the little stuffed animals and they have the claw, and you guide that to pick up an animal, right? To win the animal.
Right.
What's the percentage of winners?
How many of you have that animal at home? I know how many times I tried the claw, and there's that one you're sure you can get, right?
There, and maybe you could come up with a different metaphor. When there are things out there that are just bad investments, they might be amusing for a moment. The distraction.
I almost lost my tea on that street.
But they're just, why would you invest your energy in something that you know has a negative payoff? That's what fear is. Fear exists.
And adrenaline.
Well, and dopamine and all the
right.
rest
I was going
of
to say, we could really get into it. There's a lot of that. Yeah.
But the key here is you're old enough, you're intelligent enough, you have lived long enough to detach a little bit from the automatic stimulus response ratio that is associated with a beginner's level of consciousness. When you have matured enough to realize that is BS, that is a distraction from my mission as a human being to invest my energy in depression or fear or whatever,
right?
To be able to look at it and go, oh, I see the pull of that. I see within me the part of me that would just like to give in. And you smile and you take a breath and bring your hand to your heart and say, beloved spirit, guide me through this.
Yes,
because I wish to be more than that.
And I have steadfast commitment, focused awareness, and complete trust. But I'm also willing to do my 1, 2, 3, my ABC. And so Sri and I are gonna share that with you. So if you want to get I don't know, if you want to get yourself a piece of paper and a pencil, or you just want to hang out and listen, we're going to start sharing with you. I want to go to number 1, Sri, before we go to the phone lines. And the phone lines are starting to jam up. So I want to share with you there. It looks like there's still a line over there at the 800 number, 888-627-6008. Over at Oneness Talk Radio, 517-208-1500. We are going to begin taking callers very shortly. But I want to begin with the 3 things, because everything you and I are talking about, everything that we are living, everything that the yoga of self-ascension sincerely brings us into the blessing of, is really because of these 3 things that really are the building blocks of holding open your ascended awareness. And you guys ready for number 1? You already know it. When we say it, you're going to be like, well, I already knew that, but let's formalize it. All right. So number 1, love yourself, ... More. Love yourself more. Now, we've got to dive into this, because to love yourself more means that the ego must relax.
Yes.
You cannot love yourself more if the ego is standing there going, no, it's about as far as I'm going to allow this baby to go. We're going to hang right here.
Well, and this is where connecting to your wisdom comes into play.
Right?
To be able to say, I accept myself as I am.
Yes.
And as I am not.
Yes.
Addresses those judgments that are wrapped up in the form of expectations. Expectation is a form of judgment. Judgment divides you from your divinity, from your divine flow, from your inspiration. All judgment will wound.
And all judgment stops any progression beyond the 5th dimension.
And so the foundation of loving yourself more is to say, and when we say it out loud, we're training the egoic brain. I'm telling you, your brain is not that evolved. All right?
No matter what it tells you.
Your brain is a computer that solves puzzles. It loves puzzles.
It does, doesn't it?
You know, and have fun with that.
But I love it.
But your brain is not your spiritual guide.
No.
And so to be able to say out loud, I accept myself as I am and as I am not. I love myself completely. Wow, just saying that will bring up the, well, yes, but, it'll bring up those little nuggets that need a little more love to dissolve. And that's your healing process. And you can do it automatically and instantaneously by just going, and even with that, I love myself.
And it doesn't mean you're off the hook. It means that you're learning how to live in the fifth dimension. You're detaching from the level of consciousness that created the pain that you perceive that you are even experiencing.
Yeah.
And so to be able to lift beyond that level of consciousness begins with loving yourself more. Because as we love ourselves more, we're able to really anchor beyond that fourth dimensional pull energy. Remember that it's that fourth dimensional energy that loves the ego and thrives on the ego, and that spiritualizes our ego and thereby self-entraps us in these lateral spins that can last lifetimes.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're here right now, it's because somewhere your soul has said, hey, you ready to go up? There's more. And how we get out of a lateral spin is by the awareness of loving ourselves more, that when we lift fully up into that fifth dimensional space, that higher love, compassion presence, as Sri just so eloquently shared, we're able to then, from that space, start relaxing the self-judgment. You are unable to relax judgment of another until you relax the judgment of yourself.
Yep.
And so
that's one of the keys to having a happy life, right?
It really
there.
is, and when we start that gift, then we start lifting into that seventh dimensional experience where we can really have that bigger picture, where we are now the witnesser, witnessing the witness. And everything brings a smile because we see it, because our consciousness has lifted to where you no longer have time to age. You no longer have time to worry. You no longer have time to doubt. You no longer have time to do any of that. And because of that, you start learning how to live outside of time, thereby in a circular experience. And Sri and I have already been living this. I've been living it for well over coming into my second year now. And when we say yes to the circular experience, and the way I was describing it early on was 5 different computer screens, which I now went to a massive curved screen, and that made up the difference. But when we have that ability to be in that singular experience of multiple dimensional presence, then we are in our instantaneous manifested creative presence. And that inspiration inspires others. Inspires others, inspires others. And that's the moment we're in. And this week, the light's really on it.
To love yourself more.
Yes.
Can be applied to everyone, everywhere. And it's not selfish. I want to
really
underscore
important.
this.
Yeah, really important.
To love yourself more is to be full of the divine self that you are, to be self-full, not selfish. And this is an important discernment.
Yes.
When we talk about judgment, judgment is such a common thing that creates chaos, anxiety, fear, and separation from harmony. Judgment with a little bit of love applied to it, just to soften it a little bit, turns into discernment.
Yes.
To cultivate your palate for life, to cultivate your discernment, to be able to look at situations with having peace and love in your heart and go, oh, this choice is wiser than that choice. Or, oh, I have compassion for that person who is Velcroed into a rather tragic way of experiencing right now. And I trust that they'll find their way through it rather than to judge and blame and go down that pathway, which is highly unproductive and common.
Yes.
So we are what we're saying is, isn't it time to have an uncommonly happy life, to have an uncommonly abundant life, to love yourself more?
I agree. And so we're going to love all of you even more. And before we give you number 2, so remember that was step 1 of 3. We're going to jump over here to the call boards and hey, let's go to New Jersey. Namaste, New Jersey. Welcome.
Namaste, Samantha.
Hi, sweetheart.
Hi. Oh my God, I'm so happy. This is a miracle blessing to be with you.
Thank you, and to be with you.
I'm loving the energy and the wisdom and the inspiration, and I'm getting so much energy, and I just want to express my gratitude. And it just feels so expansive because I feel like it's already set in motion, just like you and Sri were explaining. And it just brings me to such fulfillment in my heart and my consciousness to receive that. So I wanted to say thank you for that.
Thank you for your acknowledgement and for receiving. Way to
Yeah,
go.
and I'm really feeling that as you share that. Wow, thank you. What a blessing for all of us.
Oh, you're so sweet. I'm getting chills all up and down. So I feel like I'm receiving like such a clearing, and I want to thank you for all of the activations that you do. It comes through your words, Sri and Kira, and I just want to acknowledge that because I feel it's like a shift and a change just on the call, and I just want to express my gratitude for that also.
Thank you for receiving. You know, together we are better. And so thank you for the blessing of the mirror. Yeah, truly a blessing to be with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you.
Many blessings, sweetheart. Namaste.
Many blessings. Namaste.
Bye-bye, honey. Well, I just want us all to be full. Can we all be full right now? Because that was just such a beautifully filling energy. And this is one of the things, again, about soul mirrors. What is your life reflecting, right? When we come together this way, when we reflect each other in this beautiful way, miracles happen and we come together in miraculous ways.
Well, and also the thing that this caller is reminding me to remind you is that she demonstrated an availability to the positive that is emerging.
Exactly.
In everything.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it.
That positive that is available to sustain, to nourish us. And actually that brings us to number 2.
It really does. So remember, guys, that what we're offering you tonight there are 3 things that you really need to say, okay, can I commit to this? Can I do these 3 things that really will hold open your ascended presence? And number 1 was what? Love yourself, ... More, right? Okay, you ready? Number 2, Shri.
Keep your eyes on the divine at all times.
Now, guys, and especially if you were with us during Monday Magic last night, wow, this came up again. This is also, you know, about a year ago, there was a profound ensoulment that came through from the divine directors about really always seeing every being in their highest all the time. And Archangel Zadkiel in the Living in the Fifth Dimension series, early on, since Shri and I have been together, it's always been just keep your eyes on the divine at all times. And that's also about activating star consciousness. Because when we activate our star consciousness, we go beyond what the third eye is, the first portal of illuminated presence in a world of density. And oftentimes becomes very limiting or self-limiting because the self-perception of the own nirvanic experience becomes self-limiting and addictive on its own. And there is an experience known as star consciousness. And this is, and if you look, you'll see it in all the iconography. It's always been there. It's always been staring at you, but everyone's so fixated here, they forgot to look up. And when we ignite our star consciousness, what happens is that all of that energy that has kept us in that linear cycle lifts up and offers us the greater vision. It's essentially a way of continually igniting your ascended DNA, of constantly being in that energy. And this is why the ascended Kundalini right now is coming in to help support the sustenance of this illuminated star consciousness. And remember, then you have these cosmic prime meridians. And I know that sounds wild, but you do. And so when we keep our eyes on the divine at all times, it actually helps support number 1. We're actually loving ourselves more because when our eyes are on the divine, there is only one. We're constantly in a higher state of consciousness.
I like to have fun with my ego.
Yeah, you do. That's true. That's true.
Because we all have a personality, and your personality is tied to what we're referring to as the ego. And so the ego will, over time, fall into alignment with your soul's guidance because it senses and trusts the love and the wisdom that come through from your soul's energy. And so living a soul-based life doesn't mean that your ego has disappeared. It means that it is aligned and trusting your higher self.
You're actually your ego, you know, the way that I love the way you're sharing that, because your ego actually is happier.
Yes.
Because your ego isn't having to work so hard. It's not having to pretend you're somebody you're not. It's not having to try to coerce you into something. Your ego is actually able to just be. And so it finds its joy in being and expressing, and all of that freeing energy realigns the physical form so that it can sustain the mission. Remember that also in that same ensoulment from the divine directors was that your body will sustain itself, will rejuvenate itself, will repair itself. It will continually keep itself going as long as it's serving the mission, meaning that once you lock into sacred union, all of the traditional things about the body go out the window because you're not playing by those rules anymore.
Yeah.
And you are in the eternal flow. And it's very much like, it just feels to me like you lock into it. And that's what this ascended Kundalini is doing. And so it's a profound moment of illumination.
We have so much going on in this universe that it's like we're going to the beach and you got the ocean of love, the cosmic ocean. And are you going to go dip your toes in it? Are you going to jump in? You know, how are you going to be in?
What's your choice?
In partnership with that?
Yes.
But the piece about having some fun with your ego or personality is, when I'm in situations, and I don't always remember this, but I'm just sharing this as an idea that you might try on. I try to look past the surface that is talking to me, or the surface that is easily identified by my perception. You know, like I see a building, for example, and you quickly, the mind go, oh, it's building, it's dusty, it's dirty, it has, oh, there's a window broken, whatever, you know, whatever you notice. And then I ask, where's the beauty? Show me the beauty. Or I will ask, show me the light emerging from this.
Yes.
To keep our eyes on the divine is to look past the superficial and to see the energy and the love that is animating that person or that building or that flower, whatever you're looking at, to see that exquisiteness that has said, I will allow you to be. I will radiate through you. Can you find that?
Ooh.
It's fun to find it.
You know, Sri, as you're sharing that, my whole crown chakra is just tingly. Like I'm just feeling all this beautiful energy, and it's really just a lovely experience to be aware of everything that's happening in this moment.
It is, and what's beautiful is, remember, we've converted our judgment into discernment. We've anchored love in our heart, and we look out in the world and we look for the divine, meaning we sense, feel, and appreciate the energy of creation expressing through the manifest universe.
Just breathe that in. Isn't that, it's just so beautiful, because it also, when we keep our eyes on the divine at all times, and all that means, it also really reinforces number one, because you're loving yourself even more by keeping your eyes on the divine at all times. It's just so perfect. It's so fluidly perfect.
Gratitude seems to just flow naturally.
Exactly. And so, Sri, let's jump over to the BBS lines over there at the 800 number, and let's say hi to Sophia from California on line number 2. Hey, Sophia, welcome.
Hi, namaste.
Namaste. Hi,
Hi,
sweetheart.
Kira.
Hi.
Hi, Kira and Sri. It's so good to be here again. I first wanted to say thank you so much for your guidance over the years. I've been following your teaching. I met you a couple of times. I called you in a couple of times, or several times. So you're one of the few spiritual teachers have really contributed so much to my journey. So thank you so much.
Oh,
thank you.
First to share that with you.
Thank you for the honor. Thank you, my love.
Yeah. Last time I called and you told me that things are already percolating, and it's absolutely true. You know, it has been percolating for a while, and today I feel like I've never been so aligned. I'm very aligned now. If I have a question, you know, the question is, it seems I feel there's a lack of harmony a little bit, because I'm trying to decide if I should have my teaching as part of my business, which is a mainstream business, or I should have a separate thing, like a separate website and with a focus on spiritual things.
Well, first and foremost, I like Cheshire Cat grin. I can barely contain my smile, because either way, you're saying yes to you.
Yeah,
you
they're both good.
They're awesome. And what's so funny is they're showing me you, and you're adorable. They're showing me you. You're like this little child. And there's like, you know, those teeter-totters, right? You know, the two people, the teeter-totter. But you're running to both sides. You're like, okay, I'm up, I'm down, I'm up, I'm down. And they're saying that's going to be exhausting. And so they're saying that it's time for you to really decide. And I'm giggling and I'm bowing before you, because it's actually everything we were saying in the first half of the show. They're saying you've got to decide who you are at your core. They're saying this doesn't begin with a website. It begins with the fact that you're ready. And that in and of itself is the celebration. And that how you're ready to move that forward, they're saying, is just the beginning of a series of steps that will lead you to a place you have yet to dream of. And so they're all standing around you. And I'm seeing like they're playing these little drums, you know, and they're like bang, 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 like they're clashing the drums, and they're all dancing around. And they're saying, just keep going. Now's the moment. And so thank you for bringing such joy and creative manifest presence. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So glad you hear that.
Oh, thank you. We
Much
love
love
you,
to you.
Sophia. Many blessings. And do you still feel that joy?
Yeah. Well, and also I'm appreciating the lesson, the teaching that can come forward here, because what she was sharing was, I'm clear that I'm to bring this forward.
Exactly.
And I'm wanting to fine tune, you know, my initial expression of it.
Right.
Because once we start something, there's something more that will come. Right. And so it's to me, it was a wonderful example of, well, you can't make a mistake here, because you are following your heart's guidance. And whether it goes to line, you know, A or B, you know, trust yourself, go with it.
Exactly. And so let's go over to line B. We're going to go over to Oneness Talk Radio, and let's go over to Cleveland, Ohio. Hey, Astaria, welcome. Namaste.
Hello.
Hi, sweetheart. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Sri and Kira. And I have to echo, Sri, you look stunningly gorgeous today, as always.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a
Back at
color on
you. Oh, well, thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
Oh, we love you both so much. I was hoping I could get a mini soul reading for my heart today.
Well, you know, why don't we first release the hope into the knowing that you called in and you were like, you know I'm going to get a soul reading for my heart today, and I'm going to get it before we go to the third step, even, because I'm ready to keeping my eyes on the divine at all times. And that's why your soul reading is happening right now, because everything around you is just saying, it's so funny. I just keep hearing, stop asking, start doing, stop asking, start doing. And as I'm looking at 2021, which is very much this kind of like, you know, these 12 concentric circles, this heartbeat, this, you know, big vibrational energy, I'm looking at your heart in all of its beautiful dimensional qualities and experiences. And they're saying, gather all of your heart into your heart. All of the pieces that you've put out, gather them all back and receive the gift of the journey they've been on. And you will find the whole heart that has been waiting for you. And so it is.
Oh, wow, that really brings tears to my eyes and a smile to my heart. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that with all of us, honey. I think we all were really grateful for that moment of connection. Thank you. And Shri, it really does bring us to the third one.
Absolutely.
And so let's go there, because this is really where it's at, is that number one, if you really want to stay out of that illusion, if you really want to claim your mastery presence, you love yourself more, right? Number two, keep your eyes on the divine at all times. That's irrevocable. Keep your eyes on the divine at all times. Keep your eyes on the divine at all times. And then it brings us to number three. Shri.
Trust your inspiration as action and service.
Trust your inspiration as your action. Trust your inspiration as your service. This is the moment where you absolutely have released the mind. Because there is you don't have to, I ain't got time to get old, right? Dolly Parton. Whatever it is, you don't have time to doubt. You don't have time to be depressed. You don't have time to be angry. You don't have time to do anything except be in the flow of abundant creation. And if ever there was a week in linear time to help you anchor that gift, it's literally today. Right now.
Now there's a magic word in there. Well, there's a couple of magic words.
Okay,
The first magic word is trust.
Big one.
Trust means
big T,
I'm not going to question
T.
it. I'm not going to make it conditional.
Because I know.
I'm trusting my inspiration. But
Exactly.
Here's the next magic word, as action. Too many people have wonderful stories to tell through their dreaming and wishing and
inspirations
and lovely inspirations,
Yeah.
etc. If we don't take action, why did you take birth?
And if not you, who? And if not now, when?
The whole point of this existence is I've got this wonderful body of form. I have this beautiful planet of form and all of these fellow travelers. And it is to act on your heart-inspired guidance, to act on your divine inspiration, to discover the power of spirit in action. That's the joy of being alive in a body here now, is to take action aligned with your inspiration.
As your service. How many of us spend our lives going, what is my service? I want to be of service. How can I be of service? And how many times the Archangelic realm has come in and said, remember, it is your presence that is your service. And so when you are trusting your inspiration, that means you are in full presence. That all of your action is guided through this direct, divine, incredible inspiration that I can personally testify offers you limitless energy, limitless inspiration, the ability to multitask in ways that defy words. And that anyone who's around Shri and I knows the truth of what we're sharing with you right now. This is when we say yes, when the yoga of self-ascension comes in and we say, okay, I'm going to expand beyond that. When we're willing to look deep within ourselves. And this is that moment where that big illuminated new moon mirror has opened up and given this Mercury one last moment to be this liquidy, beautiful reflecting pool where all that you are is reflecting out, where that which has been invisible is visible. How you command that visibility is your choice. And by visibility, I'm talking about your illumination. The lights of Diwali went up Saturday, did they not? We are in a moment of grand illumination. We are in a moment right now between now and December 30th where the universe is saying hello. What are they seeing?
Yeah.
What are they seeing?
It's important to recognize that everything in the outer world is a conspiracy to call you out as your spiritual beingness.
Yep.
You talk about conspiracy theories. Everything is conspiring,
and we have 1 minute
to support you to be in the truth of your authenticity. And we began talking today about the throat and authenticity and listening to your own divine inspiration. And that's where we're closing today, because that truth will set you free.
It really will. And remember that you are at a moment where it's just 3 steps to holding your authenticity and to holding your ascended being. Love yourself more, Keep your eyes on the divine at all times and trust your inspiration as your action and your service, because I know we do. And Shri and I love you dearly. Do yourself a favor. Go to wwaglobal.com and find out everything we didn't have time to talk to you about tonight, but that your soul already knows you need to learn. wwaglobal.com.
Yes.
We love you dearly and look forward to being with you again next week. With all my heart.
We love you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you for joining us, and be sure to tune in every Tuesday at 5 o'clock p.m. for more adventures. You can learn more about Master Lady Kira Ra at shriandkira.com or visit their YouTube channel, Official Shri and Kira. May your heart in all ways know the Master you are.